White Collar was one of the most thrilling crime dramas on TV, but the reboot, White Collar Renaissance, needs to make some important changes to the formula before it returns. Neil Caffrey and Peter Berg are set to make a comeback with a brand new reboot of the hit series from 2009. While the new series has revealed precious little about what the story will be and how these characters reunite, if they do reunite, there is plenty of speculation coming from fans about what the show could be, and how the adventures of Peter and Neil can continue despite a hiatus in between. However, if the show and the starring characters are to return, the reboot has a chance to right some wrongs from the original run. As clever as the show could be, and for all the fun that Neil had, there are elements of the old show that would be better off changed. From Neil securing a future, and Peter finding more work-life balance, to simply the structure of the show, White Collar's reboot has a great opportunity to take these characters to all new heights. But that means making important changes to secure the future of the show and the characters depicted in it. 6. Neil Caffrey needs to be set free. Matt Bomber as Neil Caffrey sitting at a desk and listening intently in White Collar. First and foremost, there needs to be justice for Neil Caffrey. Yes, Neil was an elite criminal who climbed the FBI's most wanted list, but when presented with a chance to get on a straight path, Neil made the best of it. He slipped at times, and fell into old habits, but Neil experienced genuine growth and changes that saw him contemplate a life working alongside the FBI where he wasn't compelled to be a criminal consultant. But the FBI never let Neil break free of his ankle bracelet in order to make a real life for himself. So, with the show coming back, Neil Caffrey needs a chance at real redemption. His end in the original series was less than honest, as the character faked his own death to go free, but this was due to the way the FBI would never have let him complete his sentence and walk free. Neil deserves to work with the FBI in a capacity where he is not treated like a criminal, and where he gets a shot at real redemption, becoming a hero for real, and without being constantly compelled to work for an intimidating agency. 5. Elizabeth Burke deserves more praise and spotlight. Peter, Elizabeth, and Mozzie in White Collar. Another character who deserves to get a lot more recognition is Elizabeth Burke. Several shows showcase intelligent, powerful, and influential women in a capacity that allows them to take the lead, make big breaks, and outshine their peers. And while Elle was always seen as a strong and supportive wife to her husband, Peter, she did not get the credit she deserved. Elle is likely as smart as Peter, while also being more emotionally intelligent and personable. This led to her being an invaluable asset several times throughout the show's initial run. But beyond that, Elle shouldn't just be a loving, supporting, doting wife who sits at home while her husband gets the job done. Elle has the potential to work alongside Peter, and have him support her and her goals and dreams. At the end of White Collar, Elle delivers a baby, but with the show concluding a decade ago, hopefully Elle can get a more prominent role, being a bigger part of the narrative, rather than a background character. And maybe Peter should spend more time backing up his wife as she pursues her motivations and goals. Neil and Peter's friendship needs to actually advance. Peter Berg and Neil Caffrey talking in prison in White Collar pilot episode. The relationship between Neil Caffrey and Peter Berg is central to the show, there is no denying that. However, over the course of 6 seasons, the pair end up in a situation that largely resembles how the series started. 2 men, on opposite sides of the law, but Peter is no longer chasing Neil. While the pair learn to respect each other, and to see the value in each other's ways of life and thinking, there is a constant back and forth as the characters appear to evolve and step forward, only to take several steps back a few episodes later. For the reboot to succeed, it should see this relationship advance, with Peter and Neil coming together officially, and fighting on the same side. That isn't to say there shouldn't be conflict and a difference of opinions, but the characters need to grow together and make a real impact in their partnership. And in order to do that, they need to become genuine friends, who work together, and push each other to be better. Peter needs to learn how to get creative like Neil, and explore alternative routes. While Neil needs to learn how to draw inside the lines, and do more good for more people than just himself. 3. The FBI shouldn't be the bad guys. White Collar Burke 7. The challenge that White Collar has faced in the past in putting both men on the same side was the fact that the side they were supposedly fighting for was deeply corrupt and problematic. Peter is a loyal FBI agent, and has dedicated his life to the pursuit of justice. But when working with Neil Caffrey, and seeing the way his agency treated his new friend, Peter was able to see how the FBI sometimes takes advantage of people, and manipulates, lies, and belittles the assets it has when it devalues them as people. Despite this, by the end of the series, it seems like Peter and Neil were able to root out several bad apples from the FBI, and Peter was getting a promotion to take more control inside the agency. If this is the case, Peter should be able to help reform the agency, and ensure that they do not manipulate, lie, and coerce people to get their way. And if that is the case, then the show will need to find a new target to put in the crosshairs for Peter and Neil to go after. Neil needs to settle down. Rachel with Neil Caffrey in White Collar. Neil has always been a wild, free-roaming, pleasure-seeking character. In this way, he loved hard, and he fell harder. He was betrayed on several occasions, and the partners that he ended up choosing rarely had his best interests at heart. However, Neil needs to find someone who he can rely on and share life with, like Elizabeth Burke. Peter's wife is the perfect example of someone who can be an equal, and help to push their partner to be the best that they can be. While Neil is unlikely to have left his bachelor days in the past anytime soon, he needs to settle down and find a lifelong partner eventually. Neil would do extremely well to have a caring person in his corner who can help push him to leave his criminal ways in the past, and use his skills to do something better. Neil could change the world with his skills, but unless he has someone to help push him further, that is unlikely to happen. And as much as Mozzie helped push him to go bigger and bigger, he wasn't always pushing in the right direction. A new partner could change things for Neil and his future.